Unsung. Alright, so this is drop D tuning. Alright, and we're going to kick it off with this intro, and it's a palm muted, almost chromatic little upscale thing. We'll start here at the 2 on the D, low D and the A. Alright, and it's just a quick 1, 2, 3. Then up to 3s, 1, 2, 3. And then up to 5s for a couple. And that just repeats. Alright. And over the top of that, eventually a second guitar comes in, and it just does this really, feedback, drawn out, long note. And I think it sounds nice like this, where we're doing like a bent 7 on the G and have a 5 on the B under it with the open E. So we just get this triple E note going. And you want a little bit of dissonance with that like slight bend there, Alright, so it just kind of really feeds back, and eventually you can add like a 7 on the E under it. Alright, just make sure it's real feedback and carrying over the whole first riff. And into the verse now, the main riff, we get this kind of back and forth with a second fret action here. And initially we're just going to do 3 strums there on the 2s of the D, A, D. And then we cut. And then we do a 2 opens to 2s. Alright, back to just the straight 2s. Back to the 2 open 2. Alright, and then we just cap it off with a 2 open 2. And then we do our, very familiar scale up from that intro riff. 2s to 3s to 5s. And you can faintly hear the second guitar adding, another octave note in here with, what the A's got here. So we just got a really big 5 now, 5 chord. Just by adding like the 2 frets up on the G here. So with the 2s, it's a 4, 3s 5, and the 7 with the 5s here. Okay, just a little subtle thing you can toss in there if you like. Now the chorus sections kind of switch a little bit as we progress. The initial 2, just kind of keep it really basic here, where we're just down strumming, 8th notes here. Starts with the open D. Then we go to our E at the 2s, and then, you can even add that additional A octave that we're doing here at the 4 on the G. But we're carrying these out, twice as long as we usually would. And then we bring it all the way up to 10s now on the D, A, D. And you can throw in that 12 G on there if you like. Okay, for that C power chord. And then down to 7s now for the A power chord. Alright, and like I said, the initial chorus just does it like that twice through. After that first chorus, we get a brief little interlude section just to carry us back into the verse. And we just hit an open D power chord there, cut it, hold a moment, then we do our 2 open 2, back to the open, and then just finish with a few 2s here. And then we get right back into our verse pattern. And once we get to the second time through the chorus, everything pretty much stays just the same, but once we get to our final, set of 7s here for that A power chord, we kind of cut that short and then bring it right back up to the 10s where we came from. Okay, to the 7s, and then back to the 10s. Okay, subtle little thing that happens at the end of that first time of the second chorus there. And once we get to the second time through of that second chorus, it even shifts it a lot more now, where we're going to start with our opens, go to our 2s, but now we're going to get a little segue into, the big extended outro here, where after those 2s, we come up to an F power chord now. And this is a special, like, suspended second look here. So just do the 3s on the D and the A, and the 5s on the middle D and G. Okay, so we're getting more of a suspended second now. Okay, so we went from our opens to the 3s there with the 5s, and then we just take it all the way up to 12s now with that same suspended second look. So 12 at the D and the A, and 14 on the middle D and G. And then we'll carry on to our big long outro here. All right, first part of the outro here, we're just going to do this really timing specific, back and forth with a couple of chords here. And we're going to start at the 5s and with the G, and we'll just go a 5 strum there on the DAD, then do a couple 7s, and essentially just repeat that twice, and we'll count that as 1. Alright, and basically you want to do just that 3 times. Alright, and then we're going to essentially do it mostly again, where we do the 5, couple 7s, 5, and then to 1 7. But at this, we're going to just really quick and subtly come up to 8s, and then back to a 5. Okay, it's just really quick little thing that happens in there. And we'll go back to repeat that first section with the 5 to a couple 7s. Do that whole thing 3 times. Alright, and at the end of this one, we come off to a big open now. Alright, and then just do a couple 2s, open, 2 3s. Alright, so it's this really timing specific thing that's happening. Okay, so it's just about, keeping track of where you are in that with the quick back and forth there, and fun little pattern once you get it down. Next section of the outro, we basically just take that final little riff that we came off of, and we just keep going with it. We do it 3 times, and even through a 4th time, but at the end of the 4th time, we, after the 3s, come up to a 5s real quick. Alright, into the home stretch here, we come off to a big set of opens. Okay, a few counts there. And then we just land on 2s for the E. And now we get into this, the guitars are basically doing this ostinato just chord that's carrying. And as close as I can determine, it's like a D9 sus chord going on here. Basically, if you want to just do the straight guitar part as recorded, it does like this, where we're coming up to like 10 on the middle D, 9 on the G, 8 on the B, and then maybe an open high E under it. And it's just strumming this like all the way through. And you can add, the various versions I've heard of this, they add some things live where they put a little note in here, like maybe come up to like the 10 on the G as well. But for the most part, we're just strumming this out. Okay. So essentially, the guitar's just strumming out, and like the bass is really carrying the chord progression here. And if you want to follow more with what the bass is doing, basically it's just here at the 3s, and you can 8th note strum these. Okay, to opens, 7s, 5, back to 3s. This time we hit the D all the way up here at the 12s. And then we walk it back down the same way with the 7s, 5s, 3s. And then it would just end with that similar riff, the open 2s, opens 2s, 3s. Now, if you want to do kind of a hybrid method where you're, basically you got the chords in there, what the bass is doing, and you're kind of getting that same just ringing chord. Basically, you can do it this way, where we're going to start on our 3s here, so DAD the 3s, and we want to hit this bottom part where we got the 5s on the G and the B, and we're hitting the 3 on the high E there. Okay, so we're getting that just over here, because now we can include the bass with it. And then we just come off to opens, keep that 5 on the B and G with the 3 on the E. So like I said, that chord just carries through the whole thing. And after the opens, we want to get that A, so we come up here to the 7s, and we can do that this way, where we have our 10, 9, 8. Or if that's a little bit of a struggle, you can just do it this way, where you're hitting the open A and with the 10, 9, 8 there. It doesn't quite have the same power chord punch to it. Alright, and then we're going to end on the G, where this is, you know, pretty simple. We can just basically hit all fives here and maybe leave out the high E. Okay, so you just repeat that, and it's a way of, you know, you want to carry the whole thing yourself, you know, get that chord ringing out through the whole thing and get the bass notes in there. Little fun little custom thing for you there.